Hello, and welcome to tonight's show. We're talking about something truly depressing, the global war industry. It's a business that thrives on conflict, and business, my friends, is booming. Global military spending hit a record high of $2.7 trillion in 2024. That's trillion with a T, folks. It's enough to make your eyes water, and not in a good way. This massive spending spree represents the sharpest annual increase since the Cold War. Think about that for a second. We're pouring money into weapons at a rate not seen since the days of duck-and-cover drills and the constant threat of nuclear annihilation. So why are we doing this? The simple answer: fear. The world is a messy, complicated place, and many countries are scared. They see threats around every corner and believe the best way to stay safe is to arm themselves to the teeth. But here's the kicker: this constant escalation of military might doesn't actually make us any safer. In fact, it often has the opposite effect, creating a climate of mistrust and making conflict more likely. It's a vicious cycle, and it's one we desperately need to break. If you found this information valuable, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Your support helps us bring more important stories to light. Let's take a closer look at where all this money is going, shall we? The United States, the self-proclaimed leader of the free world, remains the world's top military spender by a country mile. In 2024, they shelled out a whopping $997 billion on defense, accounting for a staggering 37% of the global total. China, the rising superpower, came in second, spending $314 billion. That's 30 years of consecutive growth, folks. They're playing the long game, and they're playing it well. Then there's NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. This military alliance, formed during the Cold War to counter the Soviet Union, is still alive and kicking, racking up a combined military expenditure of $1.5 trillion in 2024. Only 18 out of 32 NATO members met the target of spending 2% of their GDP on defense, with some arguing that it's not enough while others question the necessity of such high spending in the first place. Russia, never one to be left behind in an arms race, increased its military spending by a hefty 17%, reaching $693 billion. India, another major player, allocated $76 billion to its defense budget, reflecting its growing regional ambitions and security concerns. And Germany, after years of relatively low military expenditure, decided to ramp things up, increasing its spending by a whopping 28% to $88.5 billion, the highest in Central and Western Europe since reunification. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the arms industry itself. This global network of arms manufacturers, lobbyists, and politicians profits handsomely from conflict and the fear that fuels it. They wine and dine politicians, offer lucrative contracts, and make sure that the money keeps flowing. The United States, in particular, has a long and complicated history with its military-industrial complex. As President Eisenhower warned way back in 1961, this powerful alliance between the government and defense contractors poses a serious threat to democracy. And guess what? He was right. But the ethical concerns go far beyond just who's making money off of war. There's the human cost of conflict, the displacement of millions, the environmental devastation. These are the hidden costs of our addiction to militarization, and they're often ignored in the pursuit of national security. Take the Middle East, for example. In 2024, military spending in the region surged by 15%, reaching $243 billion. Israel, a country locked in a seemingly perpetual state of conflict, saw its military expenditure skyrocket by a jaw-dropping 65% to $46.5 billion. Meanwhile, Iran, crippled by sanctions, was forced to cut its military spending by 10%, down to $7.9 billion. On the other hand, India has been making remarkable strides in its defense sector. With a focus on self-reliance and innovation, India has not only bolstered its own security, but has also become a significant player in the global defense market. The country's defense exports have seen a substantial increase, showcasing India's growing influence and capability in the global arms industry. So, where does this leave us? The world is awash in weapons, tensions are high, and the threat of conflict looms large. We're trapped in a dangerous cycle of fear and militarization, and it's not clear how to break free. Some argue that we need to spend even more on defense to deter aggression and maintain our military edge. Others believe that we need to invest in diplomacy, conflict resolution, and addressing the root causes of conflict. The truth is, there are no easy answers, but one thing is clear: continuing down the path of unchecked military spending is unsustainable and ultimately self-defeating. We need to find a better way, a more peaceful way, to ensure our collective security. Otherwise, we're all doomed to live in the shadow of war. That's our show for tonight. Good night and try to have a good sleep. You'll need it.